The New York Rangers have the late game today, which makes things a lot more interesting when we dive into some of the rumors that have been spewed out about this team. We are talking today about two of their most prominent forwards. Obviously, you have the Russian winger. Artemi Panarin has been named one of the top trade targets this season because the Rangers already confirmed they will not be signing him again. They're going to be trying to get a move done, which is fine. I mean, the guy's 34 years old, the guy wants a lot of money, the guy wants to be able to still make long-term, high-dollar amount earnings, which is reasonable for him, I'd say. But the Rangers don't want to do that, so they will be trading him. We now have ideas as to where. However, we are also going to be talking about the captain of the New York Rangers, JT Miller, in this trade video because, yeah, we might have a reason to at this point. So, let's get started with the scoop on Artemi Panarin. Locked On Avalanche on Twitter posted yesterday an excerpt from The Athletic, because there was a recent Athletic article which highlights Panarin destinations. And on their list of teams, The Athletic had the Avalanche in the top spot. This is what The Athletic went out there and wrote about in regards to Panarin and Colorado. The Avs were in contention to land Panarin during 2019 free agency, and they have had internal discussions about pursuing him again at the deadline, per a league source. They have been the best team in the league to start the year. If Panarin wants a prime chance to win, Colorado makes sense from his perspective. If the Avalanche want Panarin, they have a fairly straightforward path to creating the cap space, including Ross Colton in the deal. Colton is a middle six winger with another year of term at $4 million AAV, and he has a 40-point season to his name. The 29-year-old has a 12-team no-trade list, but he is from New Jersey, so there's a decent chance that New York is not on that list. Now, I do not really know necessarily if Ross Colton would be interested in becoming a Ranger, but hey, if the idea is there, I do think it's worth talking about at the very least. It ain't gonna be Colton for Panarin straight up, I would assume. I would probably think there are some other elements to that trade that should be discussed. The next screenshot on The Athletic goes out there and says this: the biggest question is whether or not the Avalanche want to use their limited trade chips on Panarin. They could be looking to upgrade their third-line center position behind McKinnon and Nelson, but if center prices are sky-high, as it looks as they might be, GM Chris MacFarland might prefer keeping his center group as is and pursuing Panarin, which would have a trickle-down effect among the forward group and allow third-line center Jack Drury, Chris's nephew, to play with better wingers. Panarin would also likely give the Avalanche a boost in their power play, their only shortcoming as a team this season. Colorado is not hurting for offense. It is in first in goals per game by a mile, and Panarin's inconsistent playoff track record could be a reason for concern. In Colorado, though, he would not be their top offensive option, meaning he would either get the benefit of playing with McKinnon or facing easier defensive opponents. Colorado has a weak prospect pool and limited NHL draft capital, 0 picks in the first 3 rounds this year, but it has its 27 and 28 firsts. Someone like Colton would also have value to the Rangers. He can slot in at center or wing and plays the hard-nosed style that Drury likes. So, with that in mind, I do think there is some thought to be had about whether or not Artemi Panarin is a reasonable Colorado Avalanche trade destination. But obviously, Colorado, they're just one team of many that would probably entertain the idea of a Panarin trade should his availability progress in the ways that it could. I mean, I was about to say, should he be available on the market, but it's like, no, it's already been confirmed. The Rangers are not going to re-sign him. They've already spoken about trading him. Now, let's talk about some other New York Rangers folks. LeBron said on Insider Trading earlier this afternoon that when it comes to center JT Miller, his name is already out there too, being bandied about. I'm not quite sure why, though, because what I was told today is JT Miller has no intention of waiving his no-move clause, and the Rangers have no intention of asking him to waive it. So even though JT Miller is a guy whom I think we all kind of recognized was somewhat Mr. New York Ranger at this point in time, he wanted to go back, he was willing to accept the trade there, the Rangers like him a lot, they made him their captain. Even though we knew that this is how things went down, JT is still getting talked about in trade rumors, man. I don't know how to feel about that. Hey, the Vancouver Canucks need a center. Why not get JT? The Minnesota Wild need a center. Why not get JT Miller? Reunite JT Quitter with Quit Hughes in Minnesota, and then get Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes at some point in the future, too. There are a number of ways we can think about the JT Miller story. And this situation, this timeline, is probably the most embarrassing of them all. The guy's a winner, he's a 100-point player, he's signed long-term. He has a fight with a teammate in Vancouver that's so bad one of them has to get moved. He gets traded over to New York and has a decent start to his Rangers tenure. His second Rangers tenure, mind you. But the JT Miller that existed in Vancouver is no longer the JT Miller that exists now. He had the most production, most points, most offensive contributions with the Canucks compared to any other team, and now that he's off of Vancouver, it's like everything has just reverted back to his old self, and you got all the baggage and the negativity, the giving up on the plays, and the inadequate press conferences as well. So, if that's not an indicator as to how badly things have been for JT and the Rangers this year, then I don't know what would be. So you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of an Artemi Panarin trade either to the Colorado Avalanche or elsewhere? And what are your thoughts on JT Miller? Do you actually think there's reason to talk about him in a trade-like capacity? Pierre LeBrun said that he doesn't really see why this is being talked about, but the fact that people are talking about it means that there is reason to talk about it, paradoxically. Either way, I do think for JT and his family, it would be very difficult for me to see JT actually get moved, but the idea that NHL teams are already poking around and saying, hey, that guy JT Miller, is he available? Like, as if none of these other NHL teams knew the situation with him and his family and how he wanted to be in New York and how he would have accepted being in Vancouver forever because, you know, his girls loved it here and now they're back in the Big Apple. Like, do they want to move again? I don't know. JT Miller's a good family guy. It's just on the ice, there are a number of things that you can say have gone wrong with him and his progression the past few years. But with that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Panarin and JT? Thoughts on the Rangers making these trades come to fruition? Assuming a trade gets done, what is the price for Artemi Panarin? What is the price for JT Miller? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on. And bye.